real simple. On one side, you have an ancient warrior race of beings that represent entropy, and on the other side, you have an advanced race of beings that represent extropy. You know, sooner or later, these forces will collide.
For thousands of years, we suffered no peers. Equals and rivals, none of them can survive around here. We bathed in the blood of enemies that threaten with malice. Impale the heads of kings on spikes outside of their palace. Re-entire civilizations, we made them extinct. For trying to circumvent the balance, they were gone in the blink. A bona fide galaxy busted, a Reaper Armada. So any nation breaking the rules, that we come in to stomp ya. We are legion, manifestations of purest entropy. Entropic empire, annihilating infinity. We are not deaf and know those rumors persist. We are the things that make it possible for death to exist. These lower species expect that we're not bound to respect. We hardly notice them, even with our boots on their neck. The warrior class, we are the standard, the epitome. The masters of the massacre, loyal to Lord Entropy. Two empires of polar opposite sides. Inevitability that a conflict arise. The deadliest armada determine who survives. When worlds collide, when worlds collide. There are two empires of polar opposite sides. Inevitability that a conflict arise. The deadliest armada determine who survives. When worlds collide, when worlds collide.
Type 2.7 in ascending. My race crosses light years like they're inches. It's quite weird. With our gear, we put fear in the abstract. Superior tech, only adhere to the math facts. Past that, we're masters of quadrivium. Exponential growth in the interim. Few can match that. Imperium for nearly a millennium. Peaceful race, but won't give in to anyone. No, the upper echelon who bonds with the lexicon. Experts in quintessence, assumptions of us are extra wrong. The ultimate expression of intelligence. If we can't learn from it, it's irrelevant. People of the measurement, mentor of the species that are lesser than. In a thinking war, we expect to win. We personify extropy. Great of extropia will modify destiny without the fly weaponry.
Two empires of polar opposite sides. Inevitability that a conflict arise. The deadliest armada determine who survives. When worlds collide, when worlds collide. There are two empires of polar opposite sides. Inevitability that a conflict arise. The deadliest armada determine who survives. When worlds collide, when worlds collide.
Be advised that the comment section has been disabled for some reason, so I'm gonna restart that real quick, but we'll be right back on.
It's real simple. On one side, you have an ancient warrior race of beings that represent entropy, and on the other side, you have an advanced race of beings that represent extropy. You know, sooner or later, these forces will collide.
For thousands of years, we suffered no peers. Equals and rivals, none of them can survive around here. We bathed in the blood of enemies that threaten with malice. Impale the heads of kings on spikes outside of their palace. Re-entire civilizations, we made them extinct. For trying to circumvent the balance, they were gone in the blink. A bona fide galaxy busted, a Reaper Armada. So any nation breaking the rules, that we come in to stomp ya. We are legion, manifestations of purest entropy. Entropic empire, annihilating infinity. We are not deaf and know those rumors persist. We are the things that make it possible for death to exist. These lower species expect that we're not bound to respect. We hardly notice them, even with our boots on their neck. The warrior class, we are the standard, the epitome. The masters of the massacre, loyal to Lord Entropy. Two empires of polar opposite sides. Inevitability that a conflict arise. The deadliest armada determine who survives. When worlds collide, when worlds collide. There are two empires of polar opposite sides. Inevitability that a conflict arise. The deadliest armada determine who survives. When worlds collide, when worlds collide.
Type 2.7 in ascending. My race crosses light years like they're inches. It's quite weird. With our gear, we put fear in the abstract. Superior tech, only adhere to the math facts. Past that, we're masters of quadrivium. Exponential growth in the interim. Few can match that. Imperium for nearly a millennium. Peaceful race, but won't give in to anyone. No, the upper echelon who bonds with the lexicon. Experts in quintessence, assumptions of us are extra wrong. The ultimate expression of intelligence. If we can't learn from it, it's irrelevant. People of the measurement, mentor of the species that are lesser than. In a thinking war, we expect to win. We personify extropy. Great of extropia will modify destiny without the fly weaponry.
Two empires of polar opposite sides. Inevitability that a conflict arise. The deadliest armada determine who survives. When worlds collide, when worlds collide. There are two empires of polar opposite sides. Inevitability that a conflict arise. The deadliest armada determine who survives. When worlds collide, when worlds collide.
The second law of thermodynamics is the most curious of all. It says that total amount of disorder, or entropy, always increases in the universe. In other words, things rust. things decay. Everything gets old and eventually falls apart and rots.
It's been about 13 billion years, and so I wonder where the years have flown. I've been a part of it all, and even witnessed the expansion grow. I've seen the laws of physics sort out themselves. I've seen the stars and planets form from out of gravity wells. Even galaxies collided with others in cataclysmic wonder. I cause destruction on levels too high to have a number. Part of reality's fabric attached to it like a magnet. I'm not a villain, there's no reason to panic. But see, I'm not a hero either. I'm both, but still neither. Transcending all your names, Anubis to the Grim Reaper. You little hairless apes can barely comprehend the scope of this. Your lifespan so short I could hardly say that you exist. You really amuse me, the ways you try to lose me. You can't cheat me or beat me no matter what you learned in movies. But if I notice I don't see you when I read you, I've ended entire worlds. Why would I care about people? Ashes to ashes and dust to dust, I know. Everything falls apart as part of life's flow. And in time, everything you ever knew will go away.
All things must pass.
Ashes to ashes and dust to dust, I know. Everything falls apart as part of life's flow. And then in time, everything you ever knew will go away.
All things must pass.
You should be happy you got a chance to share a little slice of sentience, no matter how short or small and insignificant. So when the day comes that I'll put an end to it, reflect upon your life and the last minutes that you spent with it. Just think about the people that you have touched and the ones that you love so much. Accomplishments and failures, fun times and all of the such. Or not, cause you can choose to go into the darkness screaming, disturbing all of your people. But to me it has no meaning. If it's any consolation, just know that all of them will mourn you. In a relatively short time, will follow you and join you. Everyone, including the ones of them that's just born to, exactly like the others before them when their time came due. The universe itself will get this gift of giving up the balance with the thermodynamic equilibrium. Then I can finally rest and look upon the work I've done until the quantum forces start to spark another one. Ashes to ashes and dust to dust, I know. Everything falls apart as part of life's flow. And in time, everything you ever knew will go away.
All things must pass.
Ashes to ashes and dust to dust, I know. Everything falls apart as part of life's flow. And then in time, everything you ever knew will go away.
All things must pass.
Five mass extinctions waiting on that sixth one. And if and when the next come, then maybe they'll be all done. What will be the catalyst? Will climate change establish it? Or will they kill each other with their nukes and all their battleships? Dying from embarrassment of being disagreeable monkeys ensures their banishment. I wonder will they vanish quick or linger on for centuries, grasping at the last straws of memories, huddled in their masses as they slowly freeze. Peace talkers, in reality they warmongers, gun-toting anger addict species full of death stalkers. Separated consciousness, they think outside the natural order, but all the while they are just animals prepared for the slaughter. Petty misanthropes with petty dreams and petty hopes. Seems the furthest they will go is peeping through their telescopes, float among the stars in this planetary ghetto. I wonder when the day will come when finally they let go. Look at all these humans, what they think they doing, completely unaware that they've been marked for execution, falling all to ruin for power they're pursuing. They're choosing a straight path that's leading them to Ragnarok. Look at all these humans, what they think they doing, completely unaware that they've been marked for execution, falling all to ruin for power they're pursuing. They're choosing a straight path that's leading them to Ragnarok.
I am the Black Plague, my tactics are medieval. The wave of death and destruction that crash into the people. I have to be lethal. As a biotic crisis, I have the power to seize you and leave your planet lifeless. A damaged tyrant that won't quit until man's panic is silenced. Remove the cancer of human with violence. What happens when society collapses? I turn into hopeless fear and dive into the masses. They try to plead like their species hasn't been next, like I care about the race and religion of insects. It's the apocalypse, you couldn't escape the doom on a rocket ship. The peak of humanity, I'm the opposite. An obstinate pocket of creatures I'm gobbling, reducing them back into stardust as I conquer them with a monster hymn. Their dominance is an afterthought, submerged in the fluidity of a cyclical flow. It's Ragnarok. All these humans, what they think they doing, completely unaware that they've been marked for execution, falling all to ruin for power they pursuing. They choosing a straight path leading them to Ragnarok. Look at all these humans, what they think they doing, completely unaware that they've been marked for execution, falling all to ruin for power they pursuing. They choosing a straight path leading them to Ragnarok. Yeah. Yo. In the end, I'll be just beginning. Raining flames down from the heavens, fire dousing many. War dirge, complete destruction with 4 words. The house of great, now it's your turn.
Just know that I exist in every clenched fist and angry word. Destructive thought and hateful verb. Meaning every action that's ever occurred that brings them ever closer to their heartbeat beating slower. To the time their body's slower than the hearse where I'm the chauffeur like a supernova.
Over 9 million species, blown into a vacuum overnight by just speaking. A completely avoidable fate, but this was the path that humans were reported to take. Great.
Blast wave, the day I come while I stroll among the ashes and burnt out buildings of a world not built to last. And howl out in laughter at the cost of this disaster. Let me welcome you to Ragnarok. There is no hereafter. Look at all these humans, what they think they doing. Completely unaware that they've been marked for execution. Falling all to ruin, for power they're pursuing. They're choosing a straight path that's leading them to Ragnarok.
Look at all these humans, what they think they doing. Completely unaware that they've been marked for execution. Falling all to ruin, for power they pursuing. They choosing a straight path leading them to Ragnarok.
My ultimate weapon was forged inside a dying sun. Its infinite mass can never be measured by tons. It warps space-time, colliding with the things of past. It's ravaging planets, obliterating all of the smashes. Clashes, cause the quantum light flashes. Immense output of energy, the heat index is massive. Cosmic warlord, addicted to drawing swords. An avatar that eats stars and leaves galaxies torn. I'm bioengineered to handle all these conflicts. Swarming through the vacuum with at least 1 million starships. World split in half from the force of my wrath. Death to all extropians, they soaked in the blood bath. Hammer versus the staff, destruction is our path. We arrived and collide on both sides, they get smashed. Order the attack, these cannons don't hold back. One blast makes the hull of their ship just go crack. Disorder, raise the flag for the slaughter. Decimate our enemies and everything they thought of. Overwhelming force till we knock them off course. None is safe when we engage in celestial wars. It's disorder, no defense against the horror. Everybody dies so we leave no one to mourn ya. Overwhelming force till we knock them off course. None is safe when we engage in celestial war.
Yeah, war trumpets for the poor hunted. My only purpose in combat is to express the gore function. More umbrage taken by these slavers. Me, I'm more offended by their able-bodied raiders. More ships than you can count. We've run out of ammo before we get through the amount, so we'll draw them out. Deploying every force against our enemy. Engage in a war with Lord Entropy. I know him. He leads his troops in for answers. I know I'll have to face him and watch out for the hammer. Watch out. The battle cry will make a heart shatter. At least 1 million Reapers versus simple star mappers. We'll take those odds and teach you to never underestimate the Extropians, cause they go hard. So raise the shields. You either gonna bet on our unbeaten technology or take the field. It's unification defended by 2 million spaceships. Victory so close you can taste it. Every ship, every lord will be vanquished when it comes to celestial war. It's unification defended by 2 million spaceships. Victory so close you can taste it. You best be warned. None of this is safe if these 2 houses engage in celestial war. I tune into Extropians on the losing end. Might be my last time to teleport to the moon again.
Too soon to grin, but we're expecting to win. Defenses getting shredded, they know their end will begin. That's we descend.
If I can make it to the base, then I'll initiate. It could destroy them all or create an entry gate.
It crossed my mind that Grey has nothing to lose. Initiating unification, so that's what I know we would choose.
Using the hyper staff, I triggered the final sequence. No one knows I'm in the lab, they'll have to find it cheated.
I'm suddenly heated, recalling all of the secrets. I know where he would hide, so I separate from the fleet ships. Hover the laboratory, jump out from like 100 stories.
Only a dead man would crash my lab with no type of warning.
Rise from the rubble, determined that I'ma stop this plot.
Who would dare show their face here like they call the shots?
Extropy and Entropy. Prelude to Issue 0.
Enter the apocryphal musings of a different tune, somewhere in the omniverse, deep within the infinitude. The great debate, unification the topic, Grey of the Extropians, Malik the entropic. 2 civilizations who differ greatly, 2 similar ambition, 2 different on issues stately. Fundamentally disagree with hopes to blend, stances on it divided but still remain the closest friends. A kinship grown back centuries with the strength of their pack never wavering in intensity. I am symmetry, he's reward and penalty. The last Extropian together with Lord Entropy. The realm traversing eldritch searching, shells within purpose, hellish concepts of self-emergence. One scientist and scholar as the other walks the fine line between emperor and father. Truly profound is their duty-bound gift of musings drowned. We are their doppelgangers in sound. E&E, blowing through your deities, known to use quintessence fuel technologies to flee the scene.
Question, are you the author or the authored? This story is the answer to a question very few offered. This is a saga, one that is potentially full of drama, that redefines reality in a way that produces trauma. And as it continues, everything you thought you knew about the nature of reality will suddenly become unglued. Scientific fiction mixed and blended with an action view, put together in a way that very few indie comics do. We are majestic. It's a conflict born of a dichotomy. It's one wielding a weapon that's capable of atrocities, the other wielding a tool of defense that challenge ferocities, calculating equations at a staggering velocity. They're two bands, two roads combining the fate not foretold. Their law spanning the multiverse, person the cosmic threshold. Alternate realities, universes of casualties, while Eldritch pushes closer to omniversal calamity. The great collapse, and yes, perhaps they find a way to stop it. Change the optic, failure's not an option, yo, it's catastrophic. Most of life is so myopic, living lives so unaware. If they knew battles waged on their behalf, they might just die from fear. Lovecrafty and horror, whole reality's martyred. A threat that encompasses every tale of gods and monsters. By these who fight with honor, so there's no reason to ponder. While fate has chosen them to be galactic first responders. A war fought on every plane of existence with warriors that only know the path of greater resistance. But meanwhile, in their home universe, conditions only getting worse. They have to make it back before it all disperse.
Question, what is the nature of existence? Razored in the distance on different ways you can spin this. This is endless, and omni evolves. This is our premise. Explored through a story of glory, loss, and friendship. Tested over many trials, plenty smiles, sacrifice and ambition of many styles. With structure, a glorious tale emerges. We produce these books with the music that take you furthest. Ha, Gray of Extropy, yeah. Grand Unified, Lord Entropy, Prelude, Majestic Comics. We are majestic. Question,
Are you the author or the authored?
an omni evolves. What is the nature of existence?
Reality will suddenly become unglued. This is a saga. Are you the author or the authored?
This is endless. What is the nature of existence?
Welcome back, everybody. Hopefully we got everybody in here in the building. I'm going to switch over to my the joint viewership joint. You see if I can get Lord Entropy and Big Structure up in here. How you guys doing? Oh, wait a minute, I can't hear you. I don't know if you're muted or not. Hold on one second. Oh yeah, Stone, you're muted.
All right. Yeah, I'm doing I'm doing great.
Yeah.
It's been a crazy day.
It's been a wild day. Let me introduce everybody who's going to be joining. We basically have the triune of Majestic Comics here today. Lord Entropy himself, Tombstone da Deadman. We have Structure, our chief artist and chief of art design, Joseph Arnold, and of course, Greydon Square, always with you guys. Bring you the best type of shit ever. How's everybody doing?
Man, today's strange.
Yeah.
strange days.
So, I guess yeah, it is. Interestingly enough, you know, the last time we did this, the last time we went live and did a launch video, you know, we reached our mark. You know, we absolutely reached our goal, but it took us about 2 weeks to do it. Yeah. And this was before we had we gone to Dragon Con yet?
No, we didn't go to Dragon Con until a couple of months after that.
Okay. So we hadn't gone to Dragon Con. That was the very first campaign that we had. We hadn't had a Patreon for that long.
Right.
And a lot of the resources that exist today did not even exist back then. That was a year ago.
Facts.
So it just goes to show you how fast things are moving. But the fact that things are moving that fast means that we can get a lot more for you guys done than we initially expected. And we've been really putting together a lot of great content. And so finally we reached our launch date of issue 1. We've been promoting it for a couple months. We've been building up the hype, making sure people in the GU community, all the houses know what's going on, how it's coming, when it's coming, and finally we're here. So what we wanted to do for you guys today is, yesterday we finished up the live reading for issue 0. Me and Tombstone, we read all the way through. We were playing different parts, doing sound effects, being real goofy. It was fun. It was great. I loved it. And so we're going to do a little bit of that today. We're going to do the first 4 pages of Extropy Entropy Issue 1, Clash of Consequence. And we'll get into some of the stuff that's going on in this early issue. So, but first, as always in the G universe, we are going to set condition Norwich. You know, we are going to break the ice a little bit and make sure everybody's feeling all right. But yeah, I'm just pretty shocked at the speed and the fervor of the support. It's pretty insane.
Life comes at you fast. We literally smashed through the goal and then smashed through the first stretch goal. We're going to wind up adding more stretch goals because at this rate, the more we get, the more stuff we can do for the people. And also more stuff we can do for the company, which allows us to do more stuff for the people.
Right. Yeah. No, I feel like we are at a point where we don't really have to sell if we're capable of making good quality work. I think now it's just raising the visibility of the company to people who would be interested in that quality of work.
100%.
I don't think
we're
we have
working
to
on
prove
it.
that, that we can do it anymore. I think it's now been shown that we can make some high quality shit. Now can we get it in front of the people who are interested in it?
And I like the fact that we're taking steps towards that very thing. And with the addition of that, from where I'm sitting at now, the future looks pretty bright for Majestic Comics. I'm excited to get these stories off, and also just the high ceiling of potential that we have and finding other ways to tell this story. Because like the more we talked about it in the last stream, the more support we get, the numbers look great. These are things you can take to pitch to other places where the story can be told on a different scale.
And we have the connections to put our material in front of certain people in the entertainment industry. But before that is something that we push, we have to make sure that we know the support is there so it's undeniable. One of the great stories in entertainment is the Eve story. You know the Eve rap story, right? Mm-hmm. It's one of the best stories in hip-hop history, right? Story goes as this. Eve was shopping her demo, right? She was a up-and-coming artist. She was, when they say shopping a demo, that means she was going from label to label trying to see if she can get a deal, right? Because back in the day, you needed a deal to distribute your music.
Which, by the way, is one of the most humiliating experiences that an artist can go through. I've done it. It sucks.
Shopping your demo is one step short of prostitution. I'm not knocking sex work. If that's your thing, get your money. But
I ain't got no problem with that.
But it is absolutely one step short of sex work. It is absolutely humiliating. But shopping your demo and trying to get people to pay attention to you, and A&Rs tell you ain't nothing and all that stuff. So anyway, Eve, coming up in a hardcore hip hop time, she was shopping her demo to all these different labels, and apparently one label A&R got her demo, didn't even listen to it, threw it in the trash, right? Apparently someone else that got the Eve demo signed her. That someone being, I think, Dr. Dre or whether it was Def Jam, one of those major labels signed her. And it came out that people had been sitting on her demo and either had listened to it and not felt the same way that her, new label felt. But then Eve went on to be Eve, right? She went on to make probably $50-100 million for, the label and herself and whatnot. So the moral of the story is, like, early on, you're not going to know whether people are the real deal or not. You will have to take chances on people. But some of those people you take chances on, they have good quality work. And they just need a break.
They need a break.
They just need a
somebody
break.
To see it.
They just need someone to see it. It's not that they are just above average, and if they just did no. They have all the pieces. They have all the tools. They have every attribute that you need for this to be something that is long term and withstanding. But again, there's certain connections. There's only so many spaces, and a part of what I see in the entertainment industry is if people didn't discover it themselves, they're far more critical of it.
That's a fact.
And if they did discover it, they're far more accepting and forgiving of what they are trying to pitch. So we have to have the support leverage, if you will, to be able to present this in front of those people. So
yeah, you make it undeniable when they see that there's an audience that is captivated by it and want more of it. Like it's hard if you're a businessman and you're in a position and somebody brings you a hot commodity and say, listen, this needs to be an animated series or a TV show or whatever you have it. And they go, yeah, well, why? Because all these people right here on this analytics, all these people, yeah, they want this to be a thing. So, and a lot of times they'll see those analytics and it's undeniable. They start thinking in terms of themselves, like, this is a lot of money I can make off of this. Also, I can make a name off of it because they know that I'm the person that brought this to, the company, and they jump on it. But it starts with the numbers.
Yeah,
it starts with the numbers.
And we have to understand that is a part of it. We love these characters. We love this story. We love this world. And we're starting to understand that you guys are really interested in these characters in this world. But we also understand that in the quote unquote business world, they don't have a reason to be attached emotionally or sentimentally to these characters in the way that we are, right? Because this is, internally a GU sort of thing. So we have to play their game when it comes to that. If we want to get an animated series, or we want to get an animated special or a live action special or a Paramount deal or something like that, the numbers got to be there. The demand has to be there. Star Trek is about to get another show because there's 50,000 people that signed a petition saying that we want a show. So now Star Trek is the greatest IP of all time. I don't expect us to turn over those numbers tomorrow, but it is one of those things.
Yeah, it's again, our audience never ceases to amaze me, and I'm talking not just even now, as far back as 2011. Just the level of support we've consistently gotten throughout the course of those years. Believe me, I've been the artist that didn't have that support. I've been the artist with the support and seen how other artists that didn't have the support absolutely crave it. So I don't take it for granted at no point or time.
No, we can't take this for granted. It's too valuable. We've taken over a decade to build up this level of community of interest, and I feel like to leverage that community of interest with something that people are actually interested in.
Right.
So, all right, if anybody's sitting on that Norchery, you are cleared to launch. Let me see if I can get my other camera up. Did that pop up for you, Tombstone?
What's that?
My other camera.
Let me see. Yeah, I got a camera. I think, no, that's the same one. That's the same one.
Sure?
Yeah, I see you waving right there.
Okay, cool. Well, then they can see me as well, and we're all good. I got structures drawing up on the screen right now, so they're seeing
awesome.
Live structure
they need to
drawing.
see that.
Yeah, they got to see that. But the first thing I wanted to talk about was the promotional video that released this morning. But as always, engage on that second edition, Norch. Engage. He sounded so good when he said engage.
He did. So crazy.
I love my job.
Yeah. Same.
So the video, I want to play that. Definitely want to play at least the whole video, and then I want to go over the previously part because I feel like that was so well done. You captured every major plot point.
Yeah.
And where we were in the story. So if you haven't seen the promotional video that went out this morning from Majestic Comics, Tombstone put something together using obviously the beautiful art of structure and the entire story apparatus that we built in that first issue. And man, it looks amazing. We're going to play it a little bit.
Absolutely. Appreciate that. This is, like I said, this is my magnum opus. This is the project that I feel like, especially towards audiences that I could not reach with my music, that this is going to be the thing that defines Tombstone, and also will have people swing back around to the music, right? So it's important that every skill set I've developed over the last decade plus of being obsessed with content creating and being a vlogger, being a YouTuber, whatever they wanted to call it, I was obsessed with that. And when I saw other YouTubers with better quality videos than mine, I was mad. I was like, why does it look so good?
Yeah.
And I wanted to do something about it. So I devoted, I would say, at least 3 years or so to that, learning how to film and how to edit video and learn a lot of the tricks and the different skills that you would need, from color grading to making the proper knowing when to make the proper transitions, how to make a story out of random footage, even doing voiceover work. All of those things, those were the things that came in handy with this. And it's funny because the reason we decided last year to not play with this was because of Struck.
Yep.
It's because of Struck. Struck on my birthday hit me up with a picture of Lord Entropy wearing my face, and I think you guys may have seen it. It's the sketch ink of Lord Entropy, and he put a comment under the picture when he sent it to me in the inbox, was like something about getting the band back together.
And
yeah,
back together.
Yeah.
Well, I remember that day, and I remember you hitting me up after that day. And now that we're 2 years out from that day, and we are 2 issues in, actually launching this particular arc of story. The reason why we wanted to do an issue 0 specifically was to test audience. It was a pilot.
Yep.
And in that, we didn't know what the hell we were doing. I certainly as hell didn't. I'd never written a comic book before. But I knew I wanted to tell an interesting story. And I knew I had people around me who love comics. Like, not just, I fuck with comics every now and then, but no, like, obsessed. I really love this shit. I draw for, I draw so good that I'm willing to do this regardless.
Right.
You read those stories regardless, whether anybody was interested in you reading that or not.
Right.
And so when that came back and it received a pretty positive response, it was like, that we should really do this. And so that's where we are today. I'm just really excited to be a part of it.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
So I'm going to bring up the video real quick, and we're going to watch that. Don't forget to, if you haven't, what's the amount that we've raised up to the date right now?
Right now, let me refresh, make sure we get that fresh number. We are currently at 2,558. Our goal was 2,000, and we have already surpassed that and beat our first stretch goal to death. So we're moving on to the next stretch goal, and then the one after that. And we got 29 days left, family. So we probably add some more stretch goals to that.
Absolutely. If there's something that you guys are interested in, let us know. Let us know. If we can do it. Yeah, we'll see if we can do it, because I really want to make sure that this is something that we can provide for you guys before we agree to it. But if we can, that's definitely something that we want to do. Let's see here. Whoops. All right. So I'm pulling this up now. Really?
Not letting you do it?
Oh, it is. It's I have this in the way.
Okay. I'll mute my mic.
Absolutely. And I need to mute the All right, so we released this a few hours ago.
In our last last issue, Vespe Zarbre, the Aeonian Minister Supreme, presented evidence to the council suggesting that Grey of Extropia may have breached a treaty regarding band unification technology. Consequently, Lord Malik dispatched a fleet to investigate, but the Extropians saw this as an act of aggression and retaliated by attacking the Entropic fleet. To avoid a full-scale war, Malik decides to confront Grey directly at his moon lab. However, the situation takes a dangerous turn when their confrontation damages the unification device, opening a rift that transports them to another reality. In the upcoming issue 1, Clash of Consequence, things have worsened in their own reality, with Lord Entropy's power-hungry nephew Decaeus seizing the Entropic throne and declaring war on the Extropians while aiming to eliminate the rightful heir, Chaos. As Grey and Malik struggle to survive in an alternate reality and Decaeus threatens to destroy everything they hold dear in their own, they must set aside their differences and work together if they hope to persevere. So I think I can speak for Joseph and Greydon when I say we are super excited to bring you this next issue. And I want to take a moment to express some gratitude for all the people that helped support our first Kickstarter the last time, because we simply could not have done any of that without your help. And if you're as excited as we are about this next issue, and I hope you are, please consider backing us and making this project a reality. Every pledge counts, no matter how big or how small, and we thank you in advance for your support.
Greetings, majestic ones. So reflecting on our journey as a comic book company, I am incredibly excited to speak to you about the state of our business and our plans for the future. I do want to take a moment to acknowledge all of the original people who supported the first Kickstarter campaign that we did for the Fulcrum Point. We've achieved some major milestones since our inception, such as raising $6,288 for our initial Kickstarter campaign, which allowed us to release our pilot issue of Extropy Entropy, the Fulcrum Point, digitally and physically, and overall expand the visibility of our company. To see us do that in that way, it was mind-blowing. And I believe that we are obligated as a company to make sure you guys get the best quality content because you guys support so much. Every single one of you guys made it possible for us to be a company, and without you we would not be, or we wouldn't be in our current iteration. So we are grateful, we are appreciative, and we are humbled by you guys' support. So I want you guys to know that in this particular campaign we will be working even harder to bring you work that's even better so that the content can continue to grow and grow and grow. So on that, I appreciate everybody who's a part of this. Shout out to Tombstone, shout out to Structure. I'm Greydon Square. Peace, peace. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Dopeness.
Fire.
Hell yeah. Dopeness. Oh, I totally
Gives you that whole pumped up figure.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's great. So the first thing I wanted to get on was the previously on, which I thought was pretty incredible. I know Struck was like awesome when he commented on it, and I was thinking the same thing because it takes me back to the old school, Saturday morning cartoon. Previously on X-Men.
Previously on X-Men.
Previously on Batman the animated series.
Are we gonna implement? Listen, when Greydon, because it didn't cross my mind until Greydon brought it up. And now I can't unhear it. So now, like the next trailers and stuff that I do that have anything to do with the comic book, the Kickstarter, or whatever, it's going to be previously on Extropy and Entropy.
Yeah, I would, I would love a Majel Barrett style voice to do something like that for us, just because it's so iconic. But either way, like that would be a pretty amazing homage to
what if
that came before us.
What if we train some AI to do that? Like take his voice, put it in here, right?
Yeah.
Train it, and then it would do the previously on Extropy and Entropy.
That's not bad.
That would be fire.
I would totally do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was pretty sick. I loved, first of all, the music that you chose.
Thank you.
Was really well done. The transitions were really well done. and just the intensity and the urgency of what's going on was very on point. And
Yeah.
I think that
Thank you.
it's a good primer for anybody who's coming into the story. Like, okay, well, catch me up. What happened? It's
Right.
like, okay,
Right.
here it is. Boom. And within 30 seconds, you're like, okay, well, that makes sense, at least
Right.
from what I heard, you know? And then you
Yeah.
dig into the story and you realize you didn't give all the information, right? Like there were things that you did not only leave out, but, you know, it was intentionally omitted because it just opens up other threads within the story. So
Exactly. Also, your part of it, I felt like while I was discussing the previous situation in the pilot issue, that music needed to be tense and to be super dramatic in a way that showed urgency and danger. But when it came to your part, what I heard from what you were saying was triumphant.
Mm.
You know,
yeah, it was hope.
the last Kickstarter, it was hope. The last Kickstarter, we wound up doing more than, of course, we thought we was going to do, and it allowed us to do all of these different things that improved the company and expanded the notoriety and recognition of the brand and all these great things, and it got us to this point here. And thanking the fans, all of that is triumphant. We won, speech. That's we won the playoffs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
that. So I wanted some music, but of course in traditional comic book type of triumphant type music in the background to really like elevate all the stuff that you were saying. And I felt like the way I ended it with the three of us on the screen and the triune thing on there, it just was a great way to cap that off. So
Yeah, that was well done. I do want to ask Structure a couple questions regarding just the distance from the original art to where we're going, and how you've kind of seen things change, and your perspective on, you know, going from the original issue 0 to what we're working on right now, issue 2. What has been your thoughts, I guess, going from there to here? Big Struck? I don't know if you're on mute.
he might be on mute.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll wait for him to get his audio sorted out. But
Yeah.
you know, I think about the distance traveled between the original concept designs
Mm-hmm.
and what we're working on right now, and how things have evolved. And
It's amazing.
yeah, it's pretty amazing, because originally some of the things that I have now, I didn't even think of.
Right.
You know
Right.
what I mean? I didn't even think of. And yet, because we have certain options now, it's like, yo, that'll look great. This will look great, because now I know we can do certain things.
Mm-hmm. It's a great thing because you can literally see the growth in skill across the board for everything, from that first issue to this next one.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And I'm really proud of the level of quality that we're able to produce, you know, because I feel like a lot of independent comics, no shade, no knock, but it looks like an independent comic. I feel like this is something that if it had a Marvel logo on it, you wouldn't even blink.
Especially the some of the more recent Marvel titles that I've seen, we actually buried those. So no shade to Marvel, but it is what it is. As far as like, I didn't pick those artists to draw that. Y'all did, so
Right.
y'all gonna catch these bars.
Yeah,
but
seriously.
but a lot of indies is like you said. They are still, a lot of them are still actually working on their craft. They're trying to get better with that. They're using what they have, and a lot of times when you see it, I know me personally, it's not the standard of art that I wanted for this project. That's not to say that I haven't seen some absolutely spectacular indie comic book companies with their art and the quality. I have. But like I said, you come across a lot of that other stuff quite frequently. And, you know, it's one of them things where we knew what we wanted jumping out the gate. And we were fortunate enough to find somebody who was already in the community,
Yeah.
right? That did this stuff for a living. You know what I'm saying? It's awesome because I remember I came across his page when they was like, hold up.
Yeah, there's no way.
Hold up.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess lastly, there's a certain level of imposter syndrome that I have to wrestle with because I don't feel like a comic book company owner. I don't feel like a comic book story writer. I don't feel like someone who even is in or should be in comic books, and yet here I am, you know, looking at this story that I helped create over the last 10 years or plus, and it's like, yo, what the fuck did we create? What the hell did we create?
Well, I'll tell you this much. You absolutely do belong here. I've seen other people who didn't belong here. Some of those were musicians who looked at it as a vanity project. That's something we never did.
Right.
And for the record, that would have never been anything that we wanted to do or would have been approached or attached to in the first place. We would have never done something like some of the things I've seen from some of these other recording artists that decided they want to do a comic book.
Yeah. Can we at least name drop one of those dudes simply because they're so popular and it doesn't even matter at all?
You're talking about Eminem when he did the Punisher thing? Yeah,
when
that
Eminem was in the Punisher.
Bad.
Or
bad.
remember the Run DMC?
Bad.
That was terrible too.
You know what bothered me the most about the Run DMC one?
Wasn't he throwing wasn't he throwing turntables at people or something?
Something, and he had the 5-fingered ring, 3-finger ring or whatever. But he's a comic book head for real. His whole delivery, DMC's whole delivery, he mastered that because he read comic books, and he said at first when he was recording his stuff, it didn't have a power. So he would just start imagining that he was the Hulk or he was one of the other characters that he was reading and stuff, and basically channeled what he thought would have been their energy into his. So when we got I'm the king of rock, that's all Hulk inspired, bro.
Yeah.
So I expected from him a lot better than what I got. I didn't like it.
Before we get into the actual previously and getting into the read and everything, we do want to give a shout out to one of the members of our team who's not actually here today, which is Gabe Sandoval, right?
Absolutely.
Actually, two members of our team, but Gabe Sandoval, number one. Gabe has been our colorist from the beginning, and I gotta say, like, I'm not sure where we would be or what we would be without him. I'm sure we could find a different colorist, but they wouldn't be. They wouldn't be Gabe.
Wouldn't be Gabe.
So,
be Gabe.
Big shout out to Gabe. He is a legitimate dude, and we appreciate everything he's done on this piece of work. And the other person is S, who has become our new letterer. And, you know, we had some ideas about what we wanted to do in the initial pilot issue of E&E, and we were able to do that, and it was fun. It was great. But we also wanted someone who had the experience to take us to the next level, and I believe that he's done that. In this issue, in issues going forward, all of the things that you would normally see in a comic book lettering, you will see in E&E, right?
Right.
The sound effects, the narration boxes, you know, the different styles for each character's narration boxes.
Right.
And then we have our own unique aspect of it, right? These different realities have their own text box configurations that make them, which allows us to distinguish in different ways. So that being what it is, we just want to thank S and Gabe for helping, obviously, with what myself, Tombstone, and Structure already does.
Absolutely. They added an extra layer of polish to what we were doing. I mean, you'll see when we start scrolling, we're going to do these 5 pages of it, you'll see the explosion of color that's about to hit your eye. You better put some sunglasses on, something. Because he just, it's just insane what he did with this.
Got Big Struck right here. Big Gabe.
Big Gabe.
I always wanted to do that. I always wanted to be like, yeah. So here, you know, we have clouds coming in from this direction.
You're doing the forecast. I got you.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
So, in our last issue, Gray was accused of violating a treaty on band unification technology, prompting Malik to send a fleet to investigate. Unfortunately, this move was seen as an act of aggression by the Extropians, who launches an attack on the Entropic fleet. To avoid a full-blown war, Malik decides to confront Gray directly and headed to his moon lab. However, their heated confrontation took a dangerous turn when the unification device was damaged, resulting in a rift that transported them to an unknown location.
Awesome.
So, did I hear one of your kittens?
That is a cat making a bunch of noise over there.
I love it.
That's the baby.
Of course, we gave all of our credits here. We just talked about that, so we'll move. Shout out to the Majestic 100, who will forever be immortalized in the stars. But then,
shout out.
We approach our first moment in issue 1, which is page 0 of issue 1. There was a page 0 for issue 0, and if I'm not mistaken, I think the quote was, "I once broke the hand of the artist who drew me." Right?
Yep, that was it.
Which is pretty crazy in and of itself. And the second one, initials EF, by the way. So this one, he says, "You leave windows of your reality open as if I am unable to study the spaces you reside in."
Spooky. Unnerving.
So if I would have read that the first time, you know, when I read the first one about I once broke the hand of the artist who drew me, I'd be like, okay, that's interesting, but I wouldn't have really. But this right here is like, okay, who are you talking to?
Right.
who are you talking to? So that's definitely interesting and fascinating. And we will have these each issue.
Yeah, there'll be a different quote each issue.
Yeah.
So should I jump into this first? Okay.
Welcome. Let me move this too. Okay.
All right. G Universe Earth 7 days ago. Are you 100% sure about this? Yes, they're headed here. Damn it. You better report this to Phil. Phil, we found something. Whoa, kid. Calm down. Explain. 6 days, 7 hours later. Drew, I'm not playing around here. You need to alert the president. Okay. Just send me the data. You better be right about this. Pentagon. Apologies, Madam President. We'll have the live feed up momentarily. Restore the video, Sandra. I've imposed a media and internet blackout and suspended air traffic in the area. This had better be more than just an unusual media right, considering the numerous military assets in the vicinity. Despite unclear satellite imagery, we spotted 2 humanoid objects that should have burnt up upon atmospheric entry. However, reports suggest that the anomaly crash landed and created a sizable crater.
The Potomac Garrett State Force, Maryland, now. Secretary of Defense, the feed is back up. National Science Advisor. There, in the center of the crater. Zoom in so we can get a closer look. I love this little magnifying glass.
Yeah, it's awesome.
President, how fast did you say that they were traveling at impact? Roughly 36,000 miles an hour, according to our estimates. Nothing should have survived an impact at that speed. General, we need them alive. Capture and detain.
Lord Entropy. The last thing he remembered was his friend of over a century lying to him and attacking him when confronted about it.
Gray of Extropia. The last thing he remembered is that his friend sent a fleet of ships, invaded Extropian space, and destroyed his laboratory.
Lost and facing a common threat, they silently agreed to temporarily set aside their differences. For now.
Okay, people. We need them alive. This is a simple grab and bag.
They shall fall.
Alien entities. You don't speak our language, but you can see our hardware. Stand down and you won't be. Blam. Damn it, no. Doom. Fascinating. Some sort of primitive exploding projectile. Are you?
I actually felt that. Strange, but I'm fine.
That's impossible. My God.
My God. Oh, man.
So we're going to stop here.
Yep. Yep. We don't want to. Yeah.
But I do want to go back and do a quick
Yes.
AAR about what's going on here.
100%.
So I had to give Struck the full performance because I felt his
Yo,
art
you
deserved
killed
that.
it too, bro.
Yeah.
You killed it.
Well, come on, we're both
energy.
yeah, dog. We're both GIs here. Like he knows what's up. We're just gonna yell at you. We know you don't understand shit. So, but go ahead and tell everybody what's happening in this scene. Because there's a lot going on. Who the people are that are starting to be introduced and everything like that.
All right. So basically, as you remember from the previous issue, the last page in the previous issue, that was obviously a portal opening up that shuttled our heroes off into this new reality. What reality? Well, as we told you before, our story is based on an omniversal theme of multiple realities existing. And this, of course, is another reality adjacent to the abstract reality in some way. Of course, OBC would explain that a lot better than I would.
And I can.
Right. Right. So what happens is we pick back up right here on this version of Earth that we refer to as the G universe Earth. I know you see the Easter egg right there.
Of course.
With the G and the U right there.
Which
and,
I will say this, the one little thing. Mm-hmm. We always talk about our, in-universe doppelgangers in this reality and whatnot.
Yes.
Everybody within the G universe on this reality has some sort of a doppelganger in this G universe Earth in that reality.
Yep.
That is canon.
That's canon. It's canon. So as you can see, the two scientists here that are monitoring the satellites and the orbital telescope, and they are the first ones to actually catch a glimpse of this anomaly that is hurtling towards Earth. At first, it appeared that it was some sort of a meteorite, and it really not that much to be scared of because the size. It wasn't one of these world-ending size, whatever. But with the power of their the orbital telescope, they could focus in and see. It looked awful like humanoid things in there, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Looked awful a bit like that. They couldn't be sure, but something like that is so weird that they were going to definitely raise the alarm about it. So the one scientist runs up to our universe's version of Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Right.
I think
Phil,
that's the director of planetarium there. I don't know.
Say that again.
I said I think that's the director of the planetarium observatory there. I don't know what scientific lab he's working out of.
Right. So as you can see, they raised the alarm, and of course the connections with the government would be clear for some sort of institution such as this that monitors what's coming towards our planet. Of course, they would have a direct line to somebody in the government just in case some nonsense was about to take place. They need to warn them about. Mm-hmm. That's what happens. He talks to the Secretary of Defense here. He gives him the information. And then a while later, they're convening in the Pentagon where the president, Sandra, what was her last name? Drawing a blank. It should be in page 2.
Yeah. Actually, this one does not have that update.
Oh, all right.
So
well, I got to give you the updated one.
This one has to be the update.
All right. So anyway, she's arguing with the people there to get the live feed up because they have a live feed at the point of impact. And because they were so worried about what this thing actually was, as you can see, she was convinced to send out numerous military assets in the vicinity to make sure, if there was anything dangerous there, there was a response team. They could confront it right then. And that's, of course, what you start to see. One thing I love about this last panel here on this first page, if you look at the monitor that she's pointing at, look at it closely. You will literally see the humanoid figures of Gray and Malik right there.
I didn't even notice that.
So dope, bro.
I didn't even notice that. I just caught that, bro.
So
I didn't catch it. You just told me.
Yeah. So dope, bro. So dope.
So
that's page 1. Page 2, what we see here is clearly what was happening at the place of impact. Malik and Gray have arrived on this version of Earth. They don't know where the hell they are. And they are immediately surrounded by these things that they cannot identify, but they know a threat when they see one. When we get to the next page, this is where we decided to be a little reflective, both of the characters, where you got to kind of be in their head a little bit with the narrative, right? So they're looking around, they're sizing up the opposition. They're still pissed at each other, by the way. They're still pissed from what took place before they even arrived in this universe. But now they're disoriented. They're surrounded by what appears to be a hostile force. And they realize, look, let's take care of this first before we continue what we had going on in wherever we was at before.
Right. And there's this muscle memory of being in combat together, right? There's the muscle memory of like, we're not unfamiliar with each other.
We're fighting each other's side. Exactly.
Yeah, so for them to react in this way, it's like, okay, let's get down.
Let's get down. Meanwhile, look at the military. They are 100% spooked at what they're seeing right here. But they're also professionals. So they got a job to do and they're going to do it. But accidents happen. People are nervous. They're literally seeing for the first time evidence that they are not alone in their universe. Now, mind you, Gray and Malik are not from their universe, but they don't know that.
Yeah,
all they know
is
that these alien things. Right.
So
they don't know that.
So interestingly enough, in this scene, you see an accidental discharge. And I will say this. I have an interesting story. I don't think I've ever told publicly. But people probably wonder how often things like accidental discharges happen. Okay? I was once when I was in the military, when I was in the Army, I was at Fort Riley, and we would come back from the range, and we were in basically the motor pool bay, and we were cleaning our weapons. And they usually check people before they come off the range for rounds, for live rounds.
Right.
So they'll make you empty your pockets and all kind of shit, whatever. It's like prison. And fucking. So anyway, you would think there'd be no way for somebody to have accidentally left a round or anything like that. Because, of course, sure enough, bang, just goes off in the motor pool. Everybody hits the deck.
Oh, shit.
Like, people are checking themselves and shit. Like, what the fuck was that? Like, right?
That's crazy.
And, the person who AD'd, I'm not going to, I don't even remember his name, to be honest with you. But, he starts freaking out, thinking he probably fucking killed somebody.
Yeah.
And, thankfully enough, nobody was hit or anything. It wasn't anything. Because even when we're cleaning our weapons, we don't point barrels at people. That's just not a fucking thing. Even if I don't have a round in my rifle, I'm never going to point my barrel. However, if you're an alien, I'm going to keep the barrel pointed at you.
I'm going to keep the barrel pointed at you.
Listen, I don't care. You're an alien. You're an alien.
You're not supposed to be here.
You're foreign to my concept of things that should be alive.
Absolutely.
So in this situation, very believable that the tank commander just says fire. How often? Shit, in the military, you basically ask for forgiveness as opposed to permission. So this guy basically knew he was asking for forgiveness as opposed to permission.
100%. So as we go to the next page that we read, you see Malik takes a full-on blast to the chest from an M1 Abrams tank, and he tanks it.
Yeah,
he tanks it.
He tanks the tank.
But what he notices is that if this had been in their home reality, he probably wouldn't even have registered it as an attack. He instantly knows that something is not the same wherever they are now because he actually felt it. And there's Gray, of course, examining. He's fascinated. Gray is always studying. Even in the midst of a combat situation, he's studying.
He's taking data.
He's taking data in. That's what he does. So he's fascinated by this exploding projectile. And he proceeds to ask Malik, is he okay? Malik then, of course, tells him, I felt that, but I'm fine. And the shock when we did this particular page right here, we wanted to display the absolute horror and shock of regular baseline humans who, up until maybe a few hours before they were dispatched out here, thought they were alone in the universe. Now all of a sudden they know they're not, and now they know that some of their most powerful weapons are a mere annoyance to these things. So it's like, oh, this is one of those moments where your brain might shut down. Like, what? That he's supposed to be a greasy smear in a crater right now.
Right.
Like,
yeah, the fact that they even survived this and that they're up and they're moving, and so the shock of this scene and you can see some of the technology.
Yeah,
the look, face,
yeah.
All of that. But then Gray assumes, like, what I love about this scene is Malik takes this essentially to the chest, and then Gray steps in front of him in almost a defensive posture while Malik recovers, and then they show the care for each other they haven't shown since the first issue.
Exactly.
And that to me is a component of this. Like, yes, these beings have an issue, and when you grow up in the neighborhood, you're gonna have an issue with your homies. Like, that's just, it is a part of just being that. When you get older, you may have a falling out with your friend or your family. But if there's a war on, you're like, listen, we'll deal with that shit later. Exactly. Right now, that's my brother, and y'all attacked him. That means it's on. That's it. If I attack him, that's different because that's my brother. But if y'all attack him, it's game on, and that's basically what you're about to see right here.
Yeah. It's just first of all, as you can see the explosion of color, you can see like the pattern that Gabe was using for the color scheme, just the way it makes this issue look completely different than the first issue. Mm-hmm. Like, just the way his usage of color and where he leaned in. And you guys ain't seen nothing yet. These are just the first 5 pages. If you think this started off with a bang, you haven't seen anything yet. The rest of this issue is so insane. So insane.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'm glad we were able to get there. But one thing I will also say is the amount of color that you get in this issue from
my goodness.
Page 1, the purples and the beiges, goodness. Right? And then you get this red and the crater glowing and the military scale here. I love this scale. And then
love it.
In the next issue, you finally get a chance to see, them be Extropy and Entropy for the first time, actually,
Right.
And I thought it was interesting, too, to show the military freaking out and basically being like, look, we're dealing with aliens at this point. People are going to make mistakes. Right. I got live rounds, and chances are I would have never been able to fire live rounds in my entire life. So guess what? I'm firing at these aliens straight up. It's going down. I can imagine myself being, a specialist in that particular, battalion being sent to confront the goddamn aliens.
One other little thing that you might not have noticed. Go back and look at the last couple of pages in issue 0, and you will find the color of that portal that was opening up because of Malik smashing into the field and all of that. Look at the color of that. Then go to page 1. Excuse me. That's page 1 with where you see them actually coming down through it. It's the exact same color. Yeah. It's the exact same color as the portal. Why? Because Gabe drew the first one. He remembers all of his reasoning, his concept for why he was making things a certain color, and it adds some consistency to the visual.
This goes back to Structure's artistic genius, right? Mm-hmm. Because what was depicted here was like, you have this incoming thing. You don't know what it is. And as people are trying to figure out what it is, it gets closer. Well, how do you depict that in a 2-dimensional art space?
On one page.
Right. On one page. You basically have to go through time, down through the images that show what the hell is developing because this thing's on its way. And then when it gets there, you're like, oh shit, well, damn, this is what it looks like.
And look how look where it stops at too. It stops right on the right panel, right? They start discussing what this is, and it landed. It's there. It's awesome.
Is her name President Bennett? Isn't that what her
yes,
name is?
Sabrina Bennett.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my mind drew a blank on that too.
Yeah, that's her name right there with on the page. That's page 3.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, hopefully everybody likes what we've got so far. I heard, I saw a couple of messages here. I do want to get to. Dan Hope says, "Congrats for hitting the 2nd milestone on the Kickstarter campaign. That's awesome."
Thank you.
Which one is that one?
Oh, he's talking about the first stretch goal. But if you want to update,
yeah, I do want an update.
So we are right now $100 over the stretch goal. We are, $100 over the stretch goal. We're at 2,688 right now. Right now.
You guys are fantastic. I will say,
100%
and privileged to be able to create art for you guys.
100%.
Greppin the Gnome had made a comment about your voice earlier that I wanted to bring up. Structure, what up? Oh, I thought you were about to say something.
I was just going to say, if we can encourage everybody to share as well, because if you believe in the project and you want to support us, that's awesome, and that really, really helps. And then everybody who shares it, that's going to help get the word out even more to every single other person's audience. So we just keep spreading it as much as we can.
100%. That's absolutely a fact. Share the Kickstarter. Let's get as many people to be aware of this as we possibly can. Look at what he's doing over there.
A part of me forgot about it too because we were on the comic book, and while we were reading, he was doing this, which is crazy. That's what it's like working with a genius,
right?
So, but no, were we about to say Tombstone?
Yeah, absolutely. If you believe in the project, other people will enjoy it as well. So share it out, and the more people that we can get to know about it, and we get this brand recognition and more people to support it, we take steps closer to being able to not only bring this to you and the whole story arc to you, but also to be able to tell this eventually on another level.
Right. To Structure's point, the best way to show these people that we want to put this in front of, that there's a demand for it, is that the share algorithms show that.
Yes.
Right? Like there is an algorithm of people, a spike in sharing this. And, here's the thing. Here's a way you guys can help us right now. We posted on indie comics on Reddit. We have the top post on indie comics on Reddit right now of all time. Now, that's not a large sub, but it's got a few thousand of people involved in it, right?
Right.
Subs like that. Small groups where we know we can essentially dominate the algorithm by telling our people to go in and support it in that way. And this is really just mobilizing the audience, right? Not right. I wouldn't want to say militarizing, but I would definitely want to say mobilizing, because
Lord Entropy would say militarizing.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Well, at least to the Reapers, for sure.
Right.
But yeah, so to Structure and Tombstone's point, we do need to share this. We have to show that there is a demand for it. There are eyes who have created very successful shows who know who we are and what we're doing. So as long as we continue on our path and continue to grow, they have no choice but to start paying attention to us.
Yeah, 100%.
I love it. That Malari is looking amazing.
Yeah, she is.
Yep. Yeah, I love the way you depicted Structure. What'd you think about the video? Struck. Yep.
I find the tab. I was watching the live to see when you're actually showing me, so I don't want to disappoint and be boring, No, the video was awesome. Very, very happy with how that came out. Like everything, narration and the going through everything. Really good recap. Awesome for this morning to get things started, and yeah.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. I would say that is one of the best promotional contents we've ever done.
Yeah, I believe so. Oh, do you have that link to that Reddit post so we can put it in the chat?
Yes, I do. 1 second.
Awesome.
So we will be at Dragon Con this year. I want to coincide a GU retreat for that as well. So if you have not started to get things in order to come to Atlanta at the end of September to August 30th to like September 5th or 6th, because I'm going to be down there for like 6 days. I know everybody's going to be down there for a different amount of days based on circumstance and everything. The company is definitely going to be down there, but if you're coming down there for the retreat or coming down there for just Dragon Con in general, you might want to start getting your affairs in order now.
Yeah. Yep.
June, July, August. It's right around the corner.
Be here before you know it.
Yep. All right. You want to do some AAR stuff?
Let's do it.
All right. So yesterday we dove into the family lineage of the Entropic history, right? And we talked about the very first Lord of Entropy. And that was, what was his name? Hold on. Don't tell me. The first Lord of Entropy was, I can't think of his name.
Zolokar.
That's right.
Yeah.
Zolokar. Yep. And so it talked about how Zolokar rose to power, how Doom was created, the hammer, that Lord Entropy. So what more can you tell us about their history? Entropic lore and history?
Absolutely. So to show you that while Zolokar was the first Lord of Entropy, as you know, he was not the only. Different Lords of Entropy have ruled, of course, throughout the many millennia that they have been in existence. Some of them were great rulers. Some of them were okay rulers. Some of them were just downright despots. And the one that pops up the most on the list, the most feared Entropic Lord, was named Daggeroth. They call him Daggeroth the Dreaded. He was the most feared Entropic Lord in the history of the Entropic Empire. A brutal tyrant, he not only invaded other civilizations unmercifully, but he even oppressed the Entropic people savagely for hundreds of thousands of years. His ability to manipulate the Entropic force was so great that it is said he could destroy entire worlds just by stepping foot on the surface of a planet. Daggeroth's freakish power levels were linked to a specific mutation in his genetic structure. This mutation allowed him to channel extraordinary amounts of EFE without any injury to himself, amplifying his strength, durability, and energy projection to such an extent he was thought to be unkillable. Daggeroth had a grotesque fetish for absolute power that he murdered many of his wives and even some of his own offspring, whom he considered a threat to the throne. He sanctioned massive slave colonies on conquered planets and forced defeated species to toil in them under torturous conditions. He was even known for using these camps as punishment for entropic citizens that dared question him. Eventually, though, the Order of Kenare, the Entropic Knights, and the Nihilitan cult, pre-rebellion, we're going to talk about that at some point, they combined their forces with the sons of Daggeroth and led a successful coup to take him down. Though they could not end his life, they managed to trap him in a state of suspended consciousness. They then sealed his body away in a facility miles underground. Many millennia later, when the Entropics were forced to flee and then destroy their homeworld to end the Velan Wars, the Order of Kenare took his body and the equipment needed to keep him in suspended consciousness with them. At some point in their journey, the Entropics had to preserve energy to keep their massive ships going. The amount of energy consumed by just keeping Daggeroth in a suspended state was threatening to imperil the caravan. The decision was made to discard him into a black hole.
Jesus.
Yeah.
What happened? I mean, did he die? I mean, could it kill him? Did they know if that actually...
We assume. We assume
Okay.
we assume
Might
he's
have
gone.
to find out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The first thing I wanted to know is, like, did that kill him? Shit.
We assume, you know. Might be a safe bet.
Absolutely. So is that it? I don't want to step on your.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay,
that's
cool.
it.
So
Just wanna get my
Daggeroth,
glimpse.
another in a long line of entropic tyrants. Got it.
Yeah.
So I'm actually going to pick up where I left off talking about OBC yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
So for those who don't know, OBC, or omniversal block cosmology, is the physics that govern the omniverse according to No Tears to Gain. No Tears to Gain was the Tesla Sagan type figure that existed, that lived about 800 years before Eoa Gray.
Right.
And so Gray, like a lot of people, were fascinated with No Tears to Gain's fringe scientific concepts and his fringe theories. And one of his most radical theories was OBC. And OBC postulated that there was a container for all realities that basically made all realities equally true and false.
Right.
And so central to OBC, I'm getting some background noise. I'm sorry. You had to mute.
That might be me. Yeah,
Okay.
mute that.
All right. So basically, hold on one second. All right, there you go. All right. So essentially, the key concept to OBC is that each individual block has its own physics, its own fundamental constants, its own fundamental forces. It's literally a different reality. So when we say that Gray and Malik ended up in a different reality, they are literally in a place where the physics are not the same as the place that they left, right? But the central point of OBC is that it's based off of the manipulation of the energy of quintessence. So all of the equations that deal with power distribution and energy factor in quintessence into the equations that explain whatever's going on in whatever they're describing. Quintessence is essentially the underlying fabric of reality in OBC, according to what Zagain postulated. And if he was correct, then things like, inversion of quintessence or, omniversal existential tunneling, these concepts that most people of even extropian makeup would say this is not science. This is the most fringe science that you could think of, and it's unprovable. But of course, Gray, idolizing No Tears to Gain, he believed that No Tears to Gain was onto something. And so he is picking up where Zagain left off in OBC. And, Zagain's been dead for almost 1,000 years. So Gray and a lot of people who are fascinated by the old, Zagain science, they kind of want to emulate him. And for Gray, that's his Michael Jordan if he was Kobe Bryant. For those people who know, like, Kobe wanted to be Michael Jordan so bad that he started, like, chewing like him. You know what I mean? Like, it was silly. And that's essentially what Gray wanted from Zagain, is to have that level of fringe respect, to be on the furthest edges of thinking and knowledge, which led him to his experiments on quintessence, which is why he built the unification machine that so-called violated the treaty of the Abstract Council. So all of this stuff ties together. I think I'll stop there.
Actually, he didn't so-called violate the treaty. He violated
No,
it.
he didn't. No, he didn't. First of all, here's the thing. See, you're gonna open it up right here. All right. So here's the thing. Where is the sovereignty if we sign a treaty? Where is our sovereignty end and the treaty's dominion begin?
That is a very good question. I'm glad you asked that, because what it does is show how not very different Decaeus and Gray are on that point.
Oh, we're very much aligned. I bet you that Gray and other than, because Gray is not an extropian supremacist.
No.
But Gray is a scientific absolutist.
Yes.
That is, like, he called Lord Entropy a fool.
Yes.
Like, he was like, yo, you're a fool. You're going to stand between an extropian and knowledge. You're going to fucking die over this shit.
Right. Right.
He was not playing.
Not at all.
He was not
and we
playing.
saw it. We saw he wasn't playing because he hit the button. Like,
yeah, he was like, okay, well, if you want this to go down, I'm going to click this button and we're going to see how far down it's turtles.
Right. Oh, man.
So I feel like, you know, there is an argument to be made from the entropic, or well, not from the entropic
No,
side,
not from
but
the entropic side.
from the perspective of the violation of the treaty. If someone was to
Mm-hmm.
present that argument, okay, with the right amount of evidence, you could say that there's some sort of a violation there. But the evidence presented, in my opinion, wasn't
Mm-hmm.
sufficient enough for what happened to happen.
Yo, I actually love the fact that you stood up for the entropics and against what the council did, because on the other side of that, all of this would have been avoided had he just was straight up with his guy. Like, he straight
See, but
look,
you
I got
can't
this
tell-
thing
but you
over
can't-
here.
You can't tell your friends everything. Like,
No, you
they're-
can't.
You can't tell even your closest homies. That's an interesting point you brought up. If he was just straight up with Malik, would none of this had ever happened? Who knows?
Who
we
knows?
don't know.
That's true.
But
we don't know how Malik would have responded to that, being told that. Like, wait a minute, you're working on what?
yeah, everyone has their breaking limit. Like,
That's true.
What if your
That's
homie
true.
tells you he's a Nazi? Right?
Oh, nah, we can't.
Like,
be
we
friends.
can't be
We
friends.
can't be friends.
Right? Like, what if your homie tells you got some crazy ass, fucked up ass beliefs, and you're like, damn, bro, I thought you was cool.
Yeah,
I can't even fuck with you no more.
Yeah, I really can't fuck with you like that. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this is along those lines. This is along the lines of, hey man, you know what you're doing could put everybody at risk, could send this whole galaxy into war, and you're doing this for what? Curiosity? What the
Yeah.
fuck, man?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I get
mean-
that argument. But what I'm saying is, you can't expect, and this is where Decaeus is 100% correct. This is the problem with being a part of treaties and shit. Because then you got people who feel like, well, yeah, you signed up, now you're obligated. And it's like, no, I'm not obligated for shit. We did that for y'all to have peace, but we can take care of ourselves.
Well, here's the thing about that. So, from Malik's standpoint, he felt it was in the best interest of the Empire. Remember, he was ruling the Empire when they first entered the Centauri Galaxy, and all that war shit started. He's a tactician and a strategist. He saw where it was headed. Yeah, they came in doing what they was doing, but once the rest of those nations started to work together and combine technology and all those different things, bro,
Yeah.
it wasn't going to look good for anybody. And his number one responsibility, and this is something Decaeus has yet to understand, is the protection and the progression of the Entropic Empire. And if it looks like this is gonna result in the destruction of the Empire, especially after they spent 1,000 years in the super void and had to deal with what the Velan did to their homeworld and their empire, then Malik wasn't going to do that. He was not going to be responsible for the destruction. Not on his watch.
Right.
Wasn't going to happen on his watch. Because
Yeah.
he's arrogant and he feels as though, well, we're superior. You saw in issue 0 when he said, I wouldn't have expected such resistance from a race of star mappers.
Yeah,
Really?
he was completely dismissive.
These are extropians that are 2.7 on the conscious scale. And
Yeah.
you think they wasn't going to have some sort of defense that would have been comparable to
Right.
what bro, that is his that's a weakness. That's a tactical weakness on his behalf.
Yeah.
You know?
I was going to say, too, wait till they meet the extropians who are, versed in the science of war.
Yeah.
Like, there are levels to this shit. And,
Yeah.
there are extropians who want all of the smoke. with
All the smoke.
Decaeus. And that's going
All
to
the
be
smoke.
a pretty crazy encounter itself. But right now, as it stands, our Extropy and Entropy party, our heroes are on G Universe Earth, and they are surrounded, and they are in a bad way. Well,
Yeah.
in the baddest way you've seen them up until this
Yeah.
point.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, great stuff. I love the fact that we can tie everything together with OBC, and sooner or later I'm going to start getting into some equations. Like
Yes.
when I
I
start,
was about to, yeah.
when I start putting equations in the book and in the comic and show people like, oh, okay, because remember he's got a big exposition coming up.
He does.
He's going to explain a lot of stuff, and the hyperstaff. I mean, that thing requires power that's
It does.
native to his reality, so he's going to have to solve for that.
Yeah. Yeah, and also they're gonna eventually. It's other aspects of the story. It's so layered. There are other aspects of the story that once they get introduced, you guys will see just how many layers to this onion it really is, and it's like I said, magnum opus. Like,
Yeah, no, for sure. So before we get out of here, the last thing I will say is that, you know, incredibly appreciative for the support that we've gotten over the last year, and even just, you know, beyond with Grand Unified in general.
absolutely,
But there's been a specific effort for what's been going on with the comic and the comic company. So
100%.
we are grateful, we are thankful, we are appreciative, and we're humbled. And we hope that we can turn around and we can say, you know, issue 10, issue 100, and issue 1000. I think it's going to be way crazy.
It's gonna be insane. I really believe that one day people are going to look back at this comic the same way they look back at, especially this first arc, the way they look back at many of the other famous story arcs that people still talk about decades and decades after they've long since been published and now in like in trade books or whatever. Like that, I think that's how they're going to see this particular one because it all starts here. It
Yeah,
all starts here.
absolutely. Great work structure, great work, Tombstone.
Thanks,
We're
sir.
going to get on out of here. If you guys don't have any last words.
Yeah, once again, let me I want to do the same thing you did. I want to thank everybody for their support, not just with this, but the support they've given for all the time that GU has been in existence and that you guys have heard of me and heard of Greydon. But of course, specifically in this case with this Kickstarter is unbelievable that we managed to uh, get our funding goal accomplished and then some over to our stretch goal, moving on to the third stretch goal. That's incredible in a few hours. That's incredible. And we got 29 days to go, folks.
Oh yeah, no, for sure.
29
And it'll
days
be
to
an
go.
everyday thing for us. So we're definitely going to be on and making
We're
sure
on it.
people know. So
We're on it.
thank you guys so much for Majestic, and we are out of here.
Peace.
Peace.